film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.
Coming at you from the mean streets of St. Louis, from a basement on South Broadway, the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Because indie film
Doesn't suck today.
Doesn't suck today. You know why it doesn't suck today?
Why is that?
Because we got a guest tonight who holds the record for the most appearances on Indie
Holy
Film
shit.
Sucks.
Sorry.
Yes. I think this is number 4.
I think
and
so.
he's the honor. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And he's got the honor of being the first Zoom guest. So
Boom.
we trust you. So
There we go.
Wow, you're popping our cherry.
creator, director, writer of the already cult classic Triple Xmas. Just completed Absolution.
Yeah.
And has another one coming out already, currently in pre-production, called My Blade Is Your Salvation. The hardest hustling hustler in indie film.
That's true.
The one, the only, James Dean. Woo!
Hey,
Thank you guys. Thank you.
I worked on that for like 2 minutes.
good job.
If it means anything to you guys, I am very tired right now.
Means a lot.
You look great. You look great.
Great. Hey,
Oh,
man, thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking time out of your night tonight, especially on Zoom.
Right.
So what I wanted to do, I wanted to kick it off and not waste any time. I want to leave it up to you. What do you want to talk about tonight? You got Absolution, you got your crowdfund going on, you got My Blade Is Your Salvation coming up, and
Yeah, something that I think is an interesting topic that is both film related and not film related is trying to balance everything, which I'm not good at, and I think most filmmakers struggle with because for most filmmakers don't get into it to make money, we have or maybe that is part of the plan, but we're passionate about the actual art and the filmmaking. And so, at least in my case, I put so much of myself into it, like there's very little left over for other things, including relationships or, friendships or other hobbies, anything, and like trying to find that balance. It's so tough. Like right now, I was telling you guys, I know you guys know I'm moving in like 9 days. I'm in pre-production on a film and I'm still raising funds for the film. And also somehow I'm trying to still book a few screenings for the last film and send off to get it on streaming sites and figure out, releasing a movie called Triple Xmas, like what I can do to get it on more streaming platforms, because the titles at Triple Xmas doesn't seem to be appealing to certain platforms. like even getting it on Apple TV, it's on there, but it's nowhere. Like you literally have to search for it on Apple TV. They don't have it anywhere promoted at all. Like not even if it's really hard to find on there. So, it's I feel like there's 1,000 things to do every day and I have time to do maybe 20 of them. And that's if I let everything else, all my other obligations or just like all my other things go, like every day starts with me walking Ziggy for a couple miles, that's my husky as we were talking about. And, I have a girlfriend and I have friends and I have other hobbies, and just trying to find that balance. It's difficult, guys.
Man, so you have time to do 20 things a day? I'm lucky if I can do 7.
Well, here's the trick behind that. I am definitely very like ADD. So I didn't say I get 20 of things finished. I just do 20 things.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about balance, if you ask me. I'm a business guy myself, and I have a family, animals, independent films, and there is no such thing as balance, man. There's just grinding it out, and it seems like you're doing it though. Even though
I
you're saying that
appreciate
you're getting 100 things done that you need to get finished, you're still getting it done somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Like when I was running the Indiegogo, I had definitely more help this time around, and I also just kind of told the people close to me when I was raising funds for the first like 30 to 40 days that I wasn't going to be very accessible, you know. I even made sure that I was working less during that time. And I kind of had to in order to have like any level of success with that. And funny enough, you know, if we stay on that topic for a second, I feel like even though I put in a lot of work, I raised, I don't know, not quite, and it wasn't double, but you know, it was close to double in the same time frame, and I didn't work quite as hard as I did for the last one.
Compared to Triple X.
Triple Xmas, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I think there's a lot of reasons behind that also, but I think just it's it's so tough. Like you could, if you've never laid bricks before and you start to try to put together a chimney or a wall, you know, you're gonna work like twice as hard and end up with a inferior product as you would if you've been doing it, you know, even a couple times and you know, you just have a plan beforehand. With Triple Xmas, there wasn't a very good plan in place. I had asked a lot of people who had ran them. Um, and I think the reason Triple Xmas succeeded was primarily because I just wasn't going to give up on it, you know? And it was
Mhm.
close. It was very, very close. We barely hit our goal, and I had to extend the campaign to the fullest length of time, 60, 61 days, whatever their full time frame is. And that allowed me to barely hit it. But the funny thing is like if I wouldn't have had connections with other filmmakers through having our own podcast at the time and just meeting more and more people, I wouldn't have hit that goal because like they were sharing the campaign constantly. They were talking, they were interacting with the post because they know that all those small things add up and it really starts to draw more attention to the post, you know, like on Facebook.
Yeah. So, but isn't that true in any like independent film, right? You don't you don't know what you don't know until you dive into it.
Yeah,
So you needed that experience on that first Indiegogo to make your next one successful. Because I see that even with your films, right? Your
for sure.
evolution of your filmmaking is just brilliant. I mean, just watching Absolution, I could just tell, you know, that you took on something different, right? In that film,
Yeah,
than you did with Triple
yeah.
Xmas and even previous before that, and now your new one. But I feel as an independent filmmaker, you need to have those grind outs because you're a finisher,
Yeah,
right? You're a
yeah,
completer. Most of us are that are doing this, at least at this
yeah.
level. But you know, that's where kudos to you. So to speak to that, right? Don't you would you agree with that or disagree? Well,
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, on that topic of like just finishing, we actually shot Absolution before Triple Xmas. And I
oh,
yeah, and it took a long time to come back around to it. But I wanted to finish it. And I think there were a lot of things that I did on Absolution that I will continue to do moving forward because they worked in that context. Where with Triple Xmas, I just didn't have the budget to do it with Triple Xmas. We shot Triple Xmas in 10 days. Absolution was 21, you
mhm.
know. Right now, without digging super into the scheduling or the script at any point yet, I don't want to really make the next one without 20 days because it's just, as you know, trying to make a feature film in 10 days is insane. Like trying to like shoot it in 10 days.
Yeah,
Um,
or 16 or so.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and I think that's what people don't understand about independent film. And I thought you brought up a great point there is each day costs money,
Yep.
right? There's your fixed costs, and then there's your variable cost depending on how many people are on set or what you got going on that day, a car crash or a shootout.
Yeah. Yeah.
And each day, so for an independent filmmaker, it's how many days do you have, how much money do you have, divided by the number of days you want to shoot, and do you have enough? Nope. Well, I want 20, but I end up with 16 or 15
Right.
or
Yeah, I can tell you just like so this new one, My Blade is Your Salvation. I don't know if how familiar, not everyone is familiar with giallo films, right? It's like 60s and 70s Italian. It's like the proto slasher. It's what kind of gave birth to the slasher film. And they are typically like half and half, where half of it is a mystery like being solved, and half of it is a slasher film. Often they didn't always make a lot of sense because it would be like a reporter doing the investigation, or sometimes a blind man and a little girl, like the weirdest concoctions, right? So, like in our case, I thought a detective would probably be the best, most suitable character as the protagonist, as opposed to something that wouldn't be doing, like, wouldn't really be digging into why the murders were taking place. Um,
Like a photographer.
Yes. No, but like in Giallo films, that would be perfect. No problem. Let's make them blind though, or deaf, or something
Yeah,
really
yeah, we
like
got to
it's.
throw a mix in there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, a blind photographer, that's the moneymaker right there.
But I mean,
Tony's
seriously,
like, what the hell did that?
it's so weird and goofy sometimes. But like so the script now, the newest version of it is 121 pages, and that's not a short film, and that's not something we're going to be able to make any less than 20 shoot days. Like 20 is really kind of the limit of us pushing it, in my opinion, of what is possible. Yeah, I think the
It's set,
20 is what's
is it
that?
set at the 120 something days? Is that where you want it? Is that where you feel like you need to be?
The
The-
pages, the
I'm
page
sorry,
count.
pages,
Yeah,
pages.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, originally it was like 90, 95, and there was some pacing issues. And more than that, I didn't feel like there was pacing issues, but I got a bunch of notes back, and the one thing that kept coming back was that there were certain characters that didn't have agency or voice, that felt very just like one-dimensional. Oh, you can tell this person is just going to be fodder. Like this is the next victim. You know, they're presented as being a main character, but it very easily you can read through those, read through that. And I agreed. It was kind of a first draft, and I knew that I needed to work on certain things, and those extra 30 pages helped to bring agency to a couple characters, and also really helped to just kind of flesh out relationships in the film, so yeah, 121 pages I think is where we're at. In a perfect world, if we get and exceed what I want to raise for funding, I would add another 3 pages for another name cameo at the opening that I already reached out to. But again, will that happen? I don't know.
So are you going for a 2 hour film?
1 hour and 50 minutes. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's like that's the other thing. Giallo films weren't short. They typically were over. Yeah, a longer film for sure. Yeah, probably close to 2 hours.
So are you inspired? Like, what is that your background in that? What is that your passion in that Giallo film? Is that what you said? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so Giallo. So
Okay.
let's dig into that a little bit, because like I said, a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
what that is. Giallo is the Italian word for yellow, and the phrase yellow, the reason they were called that is because they were based on like little, essentially like comic books from like the 30s and 40s that were murder mysteries, and their covers were completely yellow. And so just, you fast forward from the 30s and 40s to the 60s and 70s, and you have all these Italian directors picking these things up and making murder mysteries. And often they're very stylistic. You have filmmakers like Argento, who you probably know him from Suspiria, maybe not, but he made some fantastic giallo films. And it's interesting because like they're so good, but sometimes there's little things or big things, depending on your perspective, that are just not very good. But despite that, the film is still fantastic. One of my favorite films from him, and one of my favorite giallo films, is called Deep Red. And the lighting in that film is pretty atrocious at times. It's very hard lighting. Like there's no effort whatsoever to soften any. It's like, oh, we have this we have this 400-degree light. Let's just turn it right on this actor and blast him. And like if you watch the film Deep Red, it's a stone cold classic. It's a fantastic film, but there are moments in that film where it's like, man, that lighting is just dog shit. So my crew, the people that I've been working with for a long time now, they had never seen a giallo film. And so we've now watched 7 or 8 together. We've been doing this for like the last 6 months on and off. Because obviously they need to have an idea for storytelling purposes. My director of photography, if he doesn't know what the hell I'm trying to do, makes it pretty difficult for us to accomplish that. And one of the first questions he asked in particular is, "Do you like this hard lighting?" And I was like, "No, it sucks, but still, let's see past that and let's watch the film, for all the other parts that make this just a fantastic film." So yeah, there's a lot of really cool aspects about those films. I like that they're not just straightforward slasher nonstop. Nothing wrong with that. Obviously, I like mindless entertainment. Triple Xmas definitely falls into that category. It's boobs and blood and gore, and that's it. I mean, like, there's really, sure, if you really want to dig into it, there was something else there, but 95% of people don't want that. So I'm not gonna, They're not interested in that aspect of that film.
Yeah, and that's why I respect you, James, because I think you know what you want before you start. You know what you have and you know what you're after. We got the pleasure of watching Absolution, and reviewing that movie. And I thought it was exactly from start to finish. It's like, yep, James knew what he was going after. He knew what he wanted and he knew how to finish it. So it sounds like that's what you did with Triple Xmas.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, maybe you're taking a big leap. Are you taking a big leap in this next film? Are you taking some chances or?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't like the idea. I mean, nothing against anyone that does this, and I think it's easier to build a brand when you make one type of film or one kind of genre, like one niche. But I don't like that. I don't want to be told what I'm doing when it comes to storytelling or like the films I'm making. Um, a giallo film is often known for being stylistic, colorful, and the cinematography, and more than that, like the architecture. Like St. Louis, it's going to be tough. I know that, and I knew that like before I started writing it. We don't have beautiful Italian landscapes per se to pull upon,
No,
but
not in the Midwest. You're kidding me.
Yeah, get some Vespas.
but
It's Taco Bell, but that's Mexican.
yeah, yeah. No, but I
Oh,
do
okay.
think that the
Olive
city,
Garden, there we go.
I do think the city, at least it's Italian, right?
He's the smart one.
This is indie film. We're going to Fazoli's, damn it, Chris. Yeah, like I feel like the best chance for us to capture that is going to be in this like St. Louis City. You have more buildings, more architecture. And there's a lot of spots that like I thought would look amazing, but there's really nowhere in the script that fits the bill. And I
Mhm.
don't like the idea of just like writing scenes because something looks cool.
Yeah, what
You
about
know,
the hill though? I mean,
there
St.
probably
Louis,
is.
right? Yeah.
I literally just finished compiling a list for the first AD of locations that we need. And funny enough, like thinking more like in line with like indie film in general, my buddy who's also my grip, he has a studio location in the city. And this studio is fantastic. He uses it with a couple other of his partners, and they do a lot of photography. He shoots music videos in there, but it's also like it's a studio apartment also, like it's set up for that. So I have three different locations from the script that we're going to shoot there.
Nice.
And and if I can, I might try to get a fourth one in there. Like you could do a lot, but then you have to know your limits with that, I think, because you could easily get to a point where it's like, okay, this is clearly the same fucking place. They're just continuing to shoot there.
Turn the camera around.
Yeah,
Face
yeah.
the other way. Here's the windows. And here's the other side of the apartment.
Did
But
you
I
have
mean,
a lot of
like,
Let's
go ahead. Yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to ask if you had a lot of exteriors that you needed to try and.
We have some exteriors. There's mostly interiors, believe it or not. There's a few for sure. Uh, and even those, I think we've kind of locked down just some really um low key setups without permits, maybe off of like shooting off of roofs in some cases. And we have access to multiple city building roofs also. And my buddy, again, he is fantastic. He used to do is it urban exploring.
Urban exploring,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 Now, I would never take a crew or a cast into any of these buildings, right? Because when you go and do these things, there's some degree of like safety issues, right? I mean, some of these buildings are falling apart. But he has found just by doing that enough that like there's a lot of parking garages in St. Louis. You can literally take a couple people and a camera and get on top of them and have the actors down below. And we've already done it multiple times on different things. And he knows these locations. And what's the worst that happens? We just get kicked out of there. He knows another parking garage, Like we're not in LA and this is indie film. Let's not be so precious about these things. Like we'll go up there, we'll set the camera up and we'll do our best, and it's a 20-minute process, and then we have to haul everything back downstairs, but there's the shot, I mean.
Well, that reminds me, I just seen a post on Facebook about this. It's not really a new location. It's an existing location. I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's a warehouse
I know
setting.
exactly what you're saying because I sent it to them. Go ahead.
And they said affordable rates for filmmakers.
Yeah.
And it's like almost $1,000 for 5 hours.
It
It's
is,
like,
yeah. Yeah.
that is not affordable on an indie budget, any way, shape, or form.
It does look cool. I'll give
It
them
looks
that.
cool,
But you're
but
absolutely right.
it is not going to work for indie film. And this location, years ago, I approached them. We're talking 25 years ago to shoot there, and they wanted to charge like $3,000 for a day's worth of shooting.
Yeah.
A day's worth of shooting for exteriors. And then
That's
I did what any right thinking indie filmmaker would do. I found some place which was absolutely free, which worked
Yep.
out better.
Yep. That is one thing that I've been really good at. Like, so back to Absolution, you know, like, I mean, you guys know, like, you do most of the work. It's you three, you know, you guys are doing the, and in my case, a lot of times, I'm not going to say I never have help with things. I obviously do, but I'm the driving force a lot of times with locations, you know, and sometimes I know people who know people, you know, and the people that the core crew always do their best to help reach out to others. And just, again, my buddy Cody knows a lot of locations, but it really shocked me. And again, I set all this up. I was there for the entire process. But when I watched Absolution at the Chase Park Plaza, with you, even Chris, you were there. I was like, after the whole movie was over, the thing that like just slapped me in the face was like, we paid $100 total for all of those locations. That was it.
Wow.
And there's like a supermarket, and there's like a diner, and there's like
Yeah.
a farm, and I was like, I was like, why did that shock
That's
me? And
an
why is that
update,
the
man.
first thing that came to mind, you know?
And it worked really well. It
Thank
worked
you.
really well. Yeah.
Thank you. It really does go back to like how determined and resourceful you can be, and just like who you're reaching out to. You know, what is available in St. Louis proper may not be it may not be what you can get. You may not be able to get a hold of it for that price range, but you go across to Alton, and you're going to find a few people that are a little more interested because it's a small town, and it's just a different vibe, you know. And the same thing is true if you went from St. Louis to LA. I mean,
A way
I'm
different
sure
vibe,
I'm sure
yeah.
everything's $5,000 a day or whatever.
So let me ask you this though, are you hard set on the location? So if you had to make a change, right, are you flexible enough where, you know, I know you said you don't like to write to the locations, but you know, let's say something falls apart or somebody comes up, you know, are you that flexible?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be, right? This is indie film. If you're not, you're never going to get anything made. I There are some things I'm more flexible with than others. I think storytelling, cinematography, within reason. Again, we don't have all the equipment in the world here, you know. We don't have a super big crane, you know. So I mean, but like within reason, I definitely try to what's the saying? Be like water, right? Like you try to roll with it, you know.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're not gonna. But other aspects I really do want to stay firm on, because I feel like there's certain things. You know, with Triple Xmas, if we'd have had triple the budget and another 10 days, that film would have, you'd have seen buckets upon buckets more blood. I mean, and I'm not exaggerating. There was a scene where Felissa was supposed to get ripped in two, you know, and we had planned it and we had talked, you know, and it just, the budget wasn't there, let alone the time. Like we ran out of, we were out of time. We had 10 minutes. We're like, how does Felissa now die? We don't have time to do this.
Well, that's a big thing there. It's not really the money so much with indie film. It all goes together, but it's the time, because time is always money.
Yeah.
And that's usually the killer on an indie film set, is you run out of time to do something properly, so you have to cut corners, and then at the end of the day, you're not happy with it.
Yeah.
Or you're
Yeah.
not as happy as you could have been if you simply had more time.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, with Triple Xmas, there were multiple instances of that, though. Like, we had a scene where Drew Marvick, who played Santa, he was supposed to get hit by a car and then, like, basically get thrown back. And we had already done this stunt work before, not with a car, but the stunt pool itself. We did that for Absolution, and I knew it could work. But just because there was a car involved, because we didn't have the time to run through the safety aspect of it or anything, we didn't have time to even like move the camera, if I'm being honest. So we were just like, okay, let's just put it all in the garage. We'll have these two girls just physically beat the shit out of them in the garage, and that's it. I mean, there was no time. We had 20 minutes, and we still had 10 other scenes we had to shoot, you know, in like 2 days, maybe like one day, something. It was,
Well, you
what do you
wouldn't know
do?
that by watching the movie, though. You
Oh, I
know,
appreciate
looking.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You have to. I mean, I feel like even when you pivot, you have to have some sort of idea of how it's going to work. Because you can pivot to whatever, but if you don't have an idea of what will or won't work or how you're going to try to cut it together, that can be a disaster, you know? I mean, and more than once, sound design has saved my ass. I mean, for sure. Or it's at least smooth things over in the edit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that is key though, from where you're thinking is you kind of know the ones you may have to pivot and you already got that planned in your head in case you do.
Yeah.
And it's the ones that you don't know where you're going to pivot, which always come up in an independent film. I don't care who you are or how well you plan. There's always that curveball that gets thrown at you.
I think so. And I think being able to pivot but stay tonally within the same framework that you've already set up for the rest of the film is super important also. Because if I go from a film like Absolution and then start like doing some of the stuff that we were doing in Triple Xmas, I mean, come on.
Well,
Just-
they've had two very different tones, both
For
the
sure.
films did.
Yeah.
So real quick, so we're not keeping you here all night. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Absolution, which was a film that we are going to be reviewing.
Yeah.
We have reviewed. I don't know.
Depends on when this comes out.
Because of when this comes out.
Yeah. It's a revenge thriller. I like to say it's kind of it was kind of inspired by films like Death Wish, you know, from like Charles Bronson, that grittier.
Ooh.
It does have a little it does have a little bit of a grindhouse feel to it. I definitely wanted to have a little bit of that, but there's a lot of drama in it, which is quite a bit different than the other films I've made. It definitely has so the synopsis is a Vietnam veteran. You know, he's kind of given up on life and he stumbles upon a girl who was attacked and he saves her and he sews her up, and that kind of sets down a path of events where he decides he's gonna give it one last go and take out the people that, you know, came after her. And that's pretty much the starting point of the film. Um that was the quickest I've ever written a script. The first draft, just like it was like 2 weeks for the first draft.
Wow.
And a lot of that, one of the reasons why I paused on that film was because I had a bit of a issue with Fontaine, my first film. Towards the end of it, my mental health was not so good. I had all these dreams and ideas of what the film could be. And then I ended up like in post, I did everything except sound, and I was spending probably like 100 hours a week or 80 hours a week on it, you know? And so my mental health took a serious toll. And so when we went into Absolution, I didn't want to have that become an issue. So I paced myself all the way through and through. But underneath everything, that film is about regret, and it's about the baggage we carry when we've done things that we probably shouldn't have when we were younger. And you know, it was inspired by specific memories and things that I've had go, you know, my life. And even though obviously I'm not a Vietnam vet or in my 70s, I think we all at any age have regrets. And
Yeah.
you know, halfway through post, I wasn't feeling it. I was like, things feel like they could be going downward for my mental health a bit. I'm gonna go make a silly slasher film with elves biting off dicks and and you know, a killer Santa and porn stars, and this is gonna be fucking fun. And I did, and it was a nice little break.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, man. So I spent 3 years making a World War II film called Rhineland,
Yeah,
and that kicked the shit out of me, mentally, physically, emotionally,
Yeah.
every which way that it could. And so after that wrapped up, I made this mockumentary about these role-playing gamers, D&D
Yeah.
players trying to get on a reality show called Game of the Year. And
Yeah.
I did that specifically to give myself a mental reset.
Clinch your
Yeah.
power.
Yeah. So I totally get that. Sometimes you go through some really hard shit making these movies, and you just need to do something to remind you why you got into it, And that's usually, let's just do something for fun.
Right. Yeah. I think just like being true to like it's weird because like art can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, but I think a lot of it is just expressing ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what are you in the mood? Do you feel like screaming right now? Do you feel like having like a real meaningful conversation with your best friend right now? Like where are we at and what are we trying to do? But more importantly, can you sustain that feeling and that mindset for 2 years? Or whatever it is, 3 years, like
Yeah.
Man, you put
and
it
that's
like that,
tough.
that's depressing.
Well, no, I mean it's true because
Reality.
if you're making a very heavy film or
Yeah,
a fucking World War II film, I mean like 3 years, that's a long time.
yeah.
I the other thing is like, you did it, I did it, and I was just talking to a filmmaker the other day, and he's currently in the throes of doing it. We just beat the shit out of ourselves, and we're too hard on ourselves, and we're comparing ourselves to these films that have hundreds of millions of dollars
Yes.
and all the time and money in the world and producers and all this stuff. And no matter how passionate we are, we have to remind ourselves not to do that because that's eh,
It's
man,
unfair.
It's
it is.
unfair and
Unfair comparison, I should
and
say.
and it's unfortunate that by and large the viewing public doesn't see it that way. And they compare these films to multi-million-dollar Hollywood productions, and there's no escaping it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you're going to get that. That's why I think sometimes it is easy to like slip into let's just make a super cheesy B film
Yeah.
because when those are bad, people love them
It
still,
is what it is what it
Yeah.
is, and we had fun, and yeah,
Yeah.
I respect that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, it's yeah, yeah, yeah. I love all kinds of films. I was telling someone the other day, like I fucking love Kurosawa. I can't even say his name right now. The Japanese director, right? I
Kurosawa.
Kurosawa. Thank you, thank you. I love his films, but I also like I watched a movie a couple years ago called Monster'd, and that's a fact. I did, and it's basically a movie that's about a big old pile of shit that's attacking people. They kill him at the end by releasing flies.
Went
I mean,
down
like
deep
that's
red and what?
Monster.
Monster. Hold on.
Monster'd. Yes, yes.
Is that French? What is that?
I was really high when I watched it, so I could not tell you. I think it was like a late 80s, just direct to video kind of thing.
That's beautiful. So what's your plans for Absolution?
Absolution. Yeah. So we may or may not be having one more screening. My goal was to have a screening in the Philadelphia area. Still waiting. That's taking a little bit longer than normal to hear back from, so I'm not 100% sure now.
Is that because of the success you had with Triple Xmas? Did you go to Philadelphia with Triple Xmas?
I did. I know someone that manages theater there, and he was in Triple Xmas, and it did well there. Yeah. And I also know enough people in that area that I think I can promote it and at least get enough people there to pay for itself and pay for my flight out there to do a Q&A and whatnot. My ultimate goal, and we're going to test this in a bigger capacity with Down the Long River, which is a movie I helped produce by Kurt Aubuchon with Harry Colmer directing, which I think you had both of them on a while back.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that one.
Yeah. It's that's a lot of work. A Western again.
Western into Missouri, man.
It's a lot of work. Yeah, so our goal is to try to do a small road show with that. Maybe 10 screens, maybe 15. And I want to continue that. I want to do the same. I want to do that and maybe up to 20 with My Blade Is Your Salvation. I've heard people say there is a way to use that as a leverage when you have a successful run, even if it's small, with a distributor. And I also know that in reality, success on a small road show, if I'm going from screening to screening, really probably means I break even, if I'm being honest. So it's like I don't want to sell this as some sort of grand money-making endeavor.
It's probably more than you're gonna see from the distributor anyway.
Hey, but isn't that the win though? I mean, breaking even's huge in indie.
Well, okay. So I guess what I mean is breaking even on expenses for the road show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I was not clear. I was not clear. But using that as leverage for a minimum guarantee from a distributor, because there are, I know someone that you also talked to online, Jason Horton, Chris, and I talked to him a bunch. I've interviewed him a few times, but he was at a Days of the Dead in Indianapolis. And he was saying some stuff about distribution. He was just talking about the whole gamut. And I can give you two quick examples. One, he was straightforward and told me what his MG was for the film that they made. And I think he said it was like $30,000 or $35,000.
Mm,
That's a lot for a film that cost him maybe $120,000 to $140,000. That's a lot, I
great.
feel like.
True, but
Um,
beyond that, MG, you're not gonna get any more return.
right, right. And I don't know. I don't know. I can say that from like a social media presence and from what I've seen post wise, it seems like that movie has done well. Both of his last two ones, it seems like on streaming platforms, they're popping up in like the most popular sections.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
the
know?
Tubi post, yep.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean that's that seems nice, you know. On the other side of that, he was talking about documentaries he makes. And the only reason I'm saying this is this wasn't like a private conversation. He said this in a panel. So again, I wouldn't just be going around blabbing if it wasn't something
Sure.
that was publicly something he said. But he was talking about two different Bigfoot documentaries he made.
Mhm.
He said very similar poster art. Some of the same subjects were being interviewed, just different snippets of the interviews, and released within like I think 2 or 3 months of each other. He said one made $6 in 3 months, and the other one made $60,000 in 3 months. That's insane.
Yeah.
And he made most of that from his YouTube channel. Think about that.
Yeah.
Like now there's certain criteria to meet that also. You have to have at least
Sure.
1,000 subscribers, but just the idea that that's now a legitimate release avenue, you know, like you could really release films there and, you know, make some money from it. Um it you know, I think I'm going to start releasing my films that way, but windowing it where maybe it's a year later on YouTube. And that way, and because also I think a lot of these streamers, they all have different audiences. The people that
Mm.
constantly watch YouTube don't constantly watch Tubi necessarily.
Sure.
There is some crossover, but these are different audiences that are getting access to this. And you know,
Well, the thing about YouTube, as opposed to any other streaming site, is you just go down rabbit holes. You just
Yeah.
watch video after video, then something else pops up. Oh, it looks interesting. So you click on that. So I think YouTube has the ability to draw you in to more things quicker than anything else.
I would also think you would, the more videos you had within your own genre and stuff, the more you would pop up on their feed as well. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways to look at that part of it. I think Jason Horton's got it down. So he's well on his way of understanding what he wants to do.
It's important to note he's been making films for 25 years, and I think he would tell you, just like I totally agree with this. If I was trying to just make movies that made money, I would be making documentaries or urban thrillers. Those are the two categories that I would approach. Documentaries, because you can bust them out for 5 to 10 grand or less and do them like every 6 weeks, just you and a few people at most, you know. Urban thrillers, because Tubi is in that throes right now where they are trying to uplift Black voices. And, you know, that is a lot of their programming. That'll shift again probably in 3 to 5 years. I think Fox did this in the 90s where they had like
Mhm.
their entire lineup. And then now if you look at Fox, there's, you know, you don't see, I mean, it's all a business move for these companies. They don't
Sure.
care about your art. I mean, let's be real.
What? They don't give a fuck about us?
Write that
Right.
down. What's the date, time?
All right. Well, James, we don't want to keep you all night. So again, we appreciate you coming on the show and think you're absolutely killing it with your approach to filmmaking, with promotion, with marketing, crowdfunding. I mean, you are a person that I hold you up to others to pay attention to.
I appreciate that. We could do an entire episode, I feel like, on marketing. I think we talked about it one day, but like sometime we'll have to do an episode just on marketing and just people I watch, because like I don't have most of the answers. I try to replicate others more often than not and see what works best. And yeah,
That'd be great. We'd love
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, well, you started with balance, and I think you got the balance. I think you understand the balance, and we appreciate you being on here tonight.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
Thank you. And once again, what did we try to talk about tonight?
I think the highs.
Lows,
And the in-betweens.
true independent filmmaking on the Indie Film Sucks podcast, brought to you by 88mm Productions. It's on.
Check out James Dean.
Check out James Dean. Where can we find your stuff at?
You can find everything at monsterkidfilms.com. There's even links to the Indiegogo if you want to come on and be a part of the film for My Blazers Salvation. It's an Indiegogo, but monsterkidfilms.com. My socials are on there, everything. You can find me.
Okay.
Monsterfilms.com.
You
Monster
got that
Kid.
wrong. Like
Monsterkidfilms.com.
monsterkidfilms.com.
We'll cut that out.
Sure we will.
All right, we're gonna sign off.
Indie film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks